Welcome to The Middle, a podcast about that messy middle in between job loss and the comeback, told by people who've lived it. From CEOs to veterans, athletes to analysts, we talk to folks navigating the unexpected turns in their careers and what comes next when the plan falls apart. These honest conversations will move you, make you think, and maybe even inspire you to leap into something new. Because behind every career pivot is someone just trying to figure it all out. So tell me what you have been up to. For our audience, so they don't know, we worked together at Salesforce. You were at Slack, and then you got handpicked to go over to Bumble. So tell me what you have been up to since we last chatted.
Thank you for having me on here, Megan. It's good to chat and talk about this middle that both of us are in this time in our lives. And it certainly is kind of a place and space that I didn't ever expect I would be in. I've been on this rocket ship career for the last 15 years. I've been at a really young age and really early in my career, head of communications at some fast-growing tech companies, came over to Slack, which was an absolute career milestone to move into a really brand name company that sort of flirted with both B2B and B2C, which is something I really wanted to get experience in. And it's funny. So I joined Slack to support the CEO at the time, Stuart Butterfield, as well as a few programs and under the leadership of a couple of VPs. And within my first 3 months, all of those were gone. So it's a lesson in making it work with what you're given. But it ended up being an amazing opportunity because then I got to support a woman named Lidiane Jones, who stepped in as the CEO of Slack. And she was handpicked, speaking of, by Bumble's founder to be the successor CEO to Bumble after the founder made the decision to act in a role of just chairman of the board. And I'll be honest, I was not thinking that was a move that I would make. I loved working at Salesforce. I was building great relationships, and I thought the work was super interesting, especially with AI coming and especially in Slack with all of that knowledge and how it can be so much better with AI. But when the CEO of a publicly traded company asks you to lead comms and report into her, what are you going to say?
You don't say no.
Yeah. But here's the real.
Can we be
real? We can be real. This same week I was offered the job, I found out I was pregnant. And I knew that it was a big risk to change jobs while pregnant. And I expressed that concern at the time. I was very open and honest, about it. Lidiane is my mentor. She is an amazing human being and was totally, she was totally excited for me, actually. She has this amazing story where she was 7 months pregnant when she moved from Microsoft to Sonos, and she actually helped the company change its maternity leave policy.
I didn't know that.
Wasn't that great before. Yeah, and then turned into 6 or 7 months of maternity leave. So she says she was 7 months pregnant. She worked there for 2 months. Then she left for 7. And then she came back and had a really storied career at Sonos before she went to Salesforce. And so I had, that in mind, and she had that in mind. But, ultimately what happened was Lidiane did leave the company in January and or announced that she was leaving in January. And I sort of knew I was her, kind of comms person. She had brought me on board. So I knew that my time there was probably limited. And so here I am. I'm no longer there, but I am now doing my own thing.
First off, I did not know that story about you with your start at Slack because, and I don't know if I ever told you this. So when I started at Salesforce, I started at Tableau. And I had the exact same thing. It was during that whole great resignation, whatever we were calling it. But I started in late January on the Tableau PR team and love all of them if they're listening. But by the end of May, 90 days in, there were 3 of us left. It was myself, Leah, and Tom. I remember getting through Tableau conference that year. And then I was like, what am I doing? I did. I was like, do I leave? Because this was not at all what I thought it was going to be. So do you just shift and adjust, or do you, just be like, hey, this isn't, and I think it's okay to say, this isn't what I thought it was. But I very much empathize with that start.
I don't think I've ever had a job experience that was what I thought it
yes,
would be.
I think that's a very good point too, because things shift and things change. When is a time when your career didn't go to plan? Do you have a 5-year plan when you sit down, a 2-year plan, or do you just kind of see where it goes?
I have a complicated relationship with planning. It is something that I know we have to do in work and I know that we should do, but I also rarely see a plan well and completely executed to the point where I felt like it was worth all the time it took us to do that planning. So simply to say, no, I have not had a plan. I have had ambitions and desires, and one of them certainly was to be the head of communications at a publicly traded company. And I did not expect to have it at that point in my career. I very much thought that I needed a lot more mentorship and I needed a lot more growth in order to kind of step into that role. But Lidiane had a lot of faith in me. She gave me a lot of support and encouragement, and she helped me battle the demons of inferiority in order to step into that role and space at the time and be there for the team and the company in that time that I was there. And it was extremely meaningful. And I got great experience and developed relationships along the way. And I will get to your question, but that leads to that sort of experience I had where I was like, I'm not ready for this. I don't have enough. I want a boss. Like, I want someone to train me. I want someone to like help me be better. That is the genesis of Off the Record, which is the comms professional networking organization that I have now founded and run. And it's all about, because I finally realized like, oh, what I'm asking for actually doesn't exist. Like, a lot of people feel like me and they're put into these positions and situations where they're expected to know everything, where they're expected to see around the corner, where they're expected to have all the answers, and they don't have anyone they can lean on and be super honest about that they actually aren't 100% sure what they're doing, or if they are, they just need that special space and gut check for it. But a time my career didn't go as planned has been like a lot. So I now am like very much accepting the fact that I work in communications. It's been 15 years, like I do it. But I think for those first like 5 or 10 years, I was really battling it. I was like, I don't know how much I want to do media pitching and staffing interviews. And I was always in B2B tech. And I just was like, getting all these reporters on these on-site events. And it was just, do I really want to do this forever? Is this really for me? So my joke is I've been trying to get out of PR as long as I've been in PR. And I've failed along the way. So one time I was working at a tech company full time, and in the back end, I got my real estate license because I was like, oh, I had this like entrepreneurial spirit. I know I kind of want to like work for myself and maybe have a little bit more time flexibility, which is kind of a joke because realtors work so extremely hard, nights and weekends, driving all over town, doing a ton of work for free with clients that never buy or deals that, fall through. So like that was a not realistic expectation of the role. And I got my license. I was about to leave, and I was at the gym. I was doing Pure Barre at the time, and I had found out that their general manager had decided to leave and that position was opening. And at the time, the salary was basically what I was making at this tech company. And I was like, oh, well, like maybe I'll go manage this Pure Barre studio. And I did for like 18 months. And and again, entrepreneurial spirit coming up. My long-term goal was to own the studio, buy the studio off of the current owners, or go in a joint partnership with them. And after like 18 months, it was clear that actually like wasn't going to happen. And I was like, ooh, I have like my professional tech communications, like marketing connections, and those are about to go frosty pretty soon if I don't like jump back into this world. And so I just left the small business entrepreneurial boutique fitness world and I went right back into comms and PR. And it's just, again, been a rocket ship ever since. It's not on my LinkedIn. No one ever asks why I have that break, which is why I always advocate for people. You don't have to put a break on your resume. No one asks. No one cares. I don't care. If it's not relevant, I don't really need to know what you were doing. And, but I keep finding myself coming back into this world and space in some reason, but I think it's good, right? Like, if you have a boyfriend or a partner from like middle school and you want to get married, don't they always advise like maybe you should go like have a date with someone else, go see what else is out there? There's a funny follow-up story to this is that when I was kind of moving from Pure Barre to go back into, quote unquote, the real world, I had a phone call with a friend who at the time was high up at jet.com. It had just been acquired by Walmart. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do comms and PR. I don't know what I want to do. And she was like, Gab, you are 30. You kind of got to just like, this is your job. Like, this is what you do. Like, you kind of, she didn't say shit or get off the pot, but that's how, like, you know, the more vulgar way to put it would be. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just like go back to comms. The funny thing is she has changed her role and job like 5 different times. She's started like 5 different companies. She's taken a break to raise her twins. Like, so she's the one who told me, like, you got to shit or get off the pot. You got to decide, like, this is where, you know, you are, this is where your expertise is. And even she has explored other things. So don't let anyone tell you that there's not an opportunity or time to try something new or different.
think that's so, I've been in a similar situation where about 8 or 10 years into my career, I just got stuck on the idea that I was going to quit comms and PR and go into medicine. I knew at the time, like, I'm not going to go to med school. I can't put that much investment, money, and time and all into it. I mean, I researched everything from social work to being a physician's assistant. And I think that's, especially with the job market right now, that's a big thing that people are seeing is how do I take the skills that I have and apply them maybe in a new way?
You know, you don't have to have it all figured out right now, and there are opportunities to change and do something new. I think about my dad, and I think about the fact that, you know, he's in his mid to late 60s and he just started his latest company like 5 or 10 years ago, right? Like how many, you know, and he's far older than that. And there's like a ton of opportunity to, like you said, take your skills, make them transferable. He's always been sort of in the like health space, right? So it's like that's like the one connection between everything. But even before that, he was an insurance agent. He had a fine jewelry business. He actually was the original person in the state of Arizona to sell advertisements on the back of receipts that you would get from the grocery store. But here's another funny story about that is that's actually well, I don't know about now. And like someone can fact check me on this. I have not fact checked this. It's just one of my dad's big fish tales. Is that that is a mob business. And he got shook up by the mob to get out of that business. And he did. So that was a mob run business and he doesn't do that anymore. But anyway, and so it was even several iterations of a career before he even got into this macro umbrella of like health. And then has been doing that over the last 30 or 40 years. And then even in the last 10, now it's something new and different. So there's no end to the evolution that we can become as professionals, as humans, as parents, as workers, as intellectuals, et cetera.
You've gone through all these transitions that you just described. Has there ever been a point where you felt like you were failing or you felt like I don't know where to go from here? Even if maybe from the outside it looked like you were succeeding.
Every single day that I've ever existed, like on planet Earth, I actually did a mindset shift pretty early in my career because of that continuous feeling. And it wasn't just I'm failing, it's that every day is whiplashing me to a point where like I am unable to tackle the days because I don't know when I wake up today what reporter is going to call me, what dirt they have, what executive is going to say or do something that upsets the employees, what article is going to come out about our competitors and they've outpaced us on a certain project or product. And the fact that I did not have control or understanding of what any day would give me, like created this mindset shift, which is I wake up every day and I imagine what is the worst thing that can happen to me today. And I can get fired. I can get laid off. An executive can leave. Like all these bad things can happen that I just listed out. And I like feel it and I like experience it. And then I shake it off. And then if that bad thing happens, then I've already experienced it that day. I'm ready to go forward. But yeah, I mean, Megan, I think this is really the genesis of Off the Record community as well, is because I started to realize that feeling was not unique to me. But the fact is like I was in the rooms, like I was leading comms. So clearly there's something there that I'm doing right. And if I'm feeling this way, then other people are too. I mean, just the other day, I said to my partner and his mom something along the lines of, I felt woefully unprepared for the public relations career when I graduated college and went to work because I didn't have like X, Y, and Z skills or X, Y, and Z classes. And he goes, if a person who got the grades that you did, who founded the PRSSA at your college and got a Daniel Edelman Award, felt woefully unprepared for the job. Like, imagine how everyone else is feeling, right? And so there's camaraderie in that feeling of uncertainty, like no clarity, no guidance, no roadmap. And that's really like what I'm here to build, specifically for comms, but I think it's relevant across any industry that you're at, is like, you are not alone in those feelings, but you are there for a reason. You're in that role in space. There's no one else who can do this job as you. You have been picked, you have been selected, you are the person for it. And just sort of settling in the fact like that you are not alone in those feelings, and that there are other people like you that are experiencing moments of self-doubt, and then being able to like talk to them and like say your self-doubt out loud is actually a really powerful thing. It almost takes away the psychological barrier when you can speak your worries out loud. And that's what we're trying to do.
A guest I just recorded with said something very similar. It was more, we were talking about personal transitions and shame. But it was, if you can say that stuff out loud, how much it diminishes the emotional anxiety that is inside you.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the basis of talk therapy, right? Is like, can we just get it off our chest? Not all of us like have great therapists that we work with that we can, be able to do that with. But sometimes if it's screaming into the void, if it's typing it into a community that you're a part of, if it's talking with a partner or a co-founder or someone else in your company that you trust as like a friend in your organization, just sometimes saying it out loud like can do so much healing.
100%. Speaking of that, what is something you wish more people would say about out loud about going through a transition, starting something new?
I wish that people would acknowledge and recognize the fact that actually, like, you don't know that it's all going to be okay. Because when you are working with someone or talking to someone who is on the job hunt, who's looking for a job, you're very tempted to say things like, you are going to get there. Like, you are going to get the job. And I actually do believe that to be true. I do believe that as people go and move forward, they will find a place in a space, and it will feel like kismet. It will feel like everything happened for this reason. But for the person experiencing the middle, like, your certainty does not make me feel better. Yeah. I don't know if you feel the same way, but if it's like, you're going to be a success, like you are, but you don't know that. Like, you don't know that. And I need you, actually, what I really need is for you to be like, I understand that for the first time in a really long time, you are standing on unsettled ground. And for the first time in a really long time, there's not money coming into your bank account every other week from a corporation. And you're now on healthcare.gov trying to figure out how to insure your family. I understand that you used to have all these benefits and stock and 401k matching. And now you're Googling like business checking account because like you're hoping that maybe you can actually make some revenue. And like, allow me to feel unsettled in that. Again, maybe speaking it out loud, maybe like owning the place and space in the middle that I'm in right now. Maybe that's not a popular answer because people do want the cold comfort of knowing everything's going to be okay. But really, I just want a partner to be like, I know that it doesn't feel okay and you're not alone.
When I lost my job, I've never lost my job. I've never gone through this. And I always empathize with people that were impacted by layoffs and restructurings and whatever you want to call them in corporate America. But I had so many LinkedIn posts that I saw where they were very polished. They were very, whether it was, hey, I just lost my job or I found a job. And it's great. People should absolutely shout either of those from the rooftops, in my opinion. But I remember thinking, you have to be feeling something. Like, you have to be. And then because I was feeling it and I didn't see it around me, I thought, am I different? Was there something wrong with me that I was feeling all this anxiety? And yet some days I felt really excited and really hopeful. So I wanted to start talking to people who are going through their own versions of the middle. And there's so many different definitions of that.
How is it that like we as society have been in a social media world for 20 years now, and we still forget that people present this like top 1% cream of the crop to the public, and that that's just not real and not true?
I think there's a research study that basically says the pendulum has swung because social media is so prevalent now. It's where so many people get their news. So I do think that prevalence has led a lot to this hardship of still being able to recognize that social media, although it is a channel, it is not the channel.
The group chat is like the new place and space where people are convening, because it is a real and true space to actually like be yourself, and be authentic and be with people whom you trust versus whatever persona that you put on the internet.
Do you label your group chat? Do you give it a name?
Of course, always.
Unless they're an Android user, because then you can't name it.
We had a huge Android family civil war, but we have finally moved to WhatsApp.
Okay.
To solve the issues.
Let's talk more about Off the Record. You've mentioned it a few times already. Was it always an idea in the back of your mind, or did it emerge as you've gone through your own middle these last few months?
Being an entrepreneur has always been something that I've ruminated with, but combining the entrepreneurial spirit with the skills that I've collected over the last 15 years as a comms professional only really married together when I found myself in this last middle earlier this year. So I've been a part of communities similar to this. And so I know the model and I know the power of a model like this, but I was really taking the time to think like, what am I uniquely good at? Like, what can I do and better than most other people? And looking in comms, there are better people than me at media relations, and there are better people than me at writing, and there are better people at me at, building keynote speeches for like the big stages. Absolutely no doubt. But I do believe I have really unique skills in building and developing communications individuals as leaders, working with leadership teams to communicate the value of our programs and drive business goals with communications programs. And I've had really incredible relationships with my teams. And one of my, most pride and joy is my retention. People don't leave my team. People come into my team from other places in the organization. And I have a lot of pride of that. And I thought, how could I bring like the magic of a one-to-one call or a one-on-one meeting to people at scale? And how could I build something that delivers what I am uniquely good at, but doesn't gatekeep it through the traditional confines of we both have to be working at the same company. You have to be reporting directly into me, and we have to make sure that we reserve the time for our one-on-one. And that one-on-one also has to be not a status update, but actually something that's like driving and delivering value. And so that's where Off the Record was born. It is the definition of a passion project. Everything I get to do every single day, I am obsessed with and I love. Building content for the members, having one-on-one coaching calls, being in our community and responding in real time to like situations that they're going through, actually growing and building the business and thinking, how can I reach the scale that I need, that this is actually what I truly get to do full time? So it was really born from like a marriage of experience and desire and passion. And I do think that the members like see that every day. And when we get to work together and when we get to build and grow something big, and it's been so cool to also have other members come to me and be like, this is not just what I needed, but what I also want to do. Can I help co-host something? Can I give you coaching for some of the members instead? And it's really becoming this like independent organism outside of even me already. We only launched last month. It's becoming and turning into something really special that I certainly wish I had while I was growing up in comms, but I'm really glad I have it now.
That's amazing. Have you redefined what ambition and success looks like to you, especially as you've started Off the Record?
One of the biggest realizations I had was in my last role. I thought that once I achieved this apex of corporate success that I defined for myself, which was be head of communications at a publicly traded company, that was the goal. And I got to this goal and I'm standing there and I still don't necessarily feel fulfilled, empowered, on top of everything that I'm doing, a clear roadmap going forward. I was feeling like lost, alone, lack of community, etc. At the same time, it is and was and probably continues to be an absolute 24/7 job. There's always, trust and safety incidents happening. There's products being launched. It's a very intimate part of people's lives, dating. And so therefore the job of communications is continuous. I had a situation where, to like summarize it very easily, I just don't think I was being a very good mom. And I don't think that I was giving my children the time and attention that they deserved from me. And I sat back and I told myself, and I came to this realization. This is the realization that I stick to now, is my friends and family don't love me because I am the VP of comms at Bumble. They love me despite the fact I am the VP of comms at Bumble. My job actually takes away from all the reasons my friends and family love me. It is not a reason they love me. And at the end of the day, what really matters is them, right? They are going to be the ones with me for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. When I think about my children's wedding day, am I going to be thinking about this crisis that I'm working on right now? Yet why do I always continuously prioritize work over them?
Yeah.
Right? It's a very hard thing to balance. I certainly still don't even have it. I'm running my own business now, and I still find myself in those situations where I could have been a better mom in a situation, but I'm trying to respond to an email or deal with something on the side. It's a constant evolution and growth. I don't think I'll ever get there, but at least reminding myself that my work does not define my value to the people who matter most. It actually takes away from it. Keep that balance in check.
I don't think there's ever a 50-50 balance of being able to be a good mom and a good spouse or partner and, all of those things that people want to be. But there is something so valuable when you do find that outlet and when you do find that thing that excites you. I do think it flows over into other parts of your life. I can tell just by listening to you talk and watching you, how excited you are about this.
And that's the thing that for people who maybe even aren't in the middle and are working, full-time at a company, your identity as a parent also should not be your entire identity either, right? So how can you find your podcast or your off the record community that makes you excited and want to work on it? Maybe that's a sport, maybe that's picking up pickleball, maybe that's getting into volunteering at your local, whatever, name your organization, something that makes you on a Sunday be I want to do this. I think we all deserve that.
What keeps you up at night?
Speaking of not making 5-year plans, but my goal is that I can grow my business to the point where that this can continue to be my full-time focus and career and job. So what keeps me up at night is what steps do I have to take and what do I have to do in order to grow and scale this to a point where it really can sustain me in a full-time capacity, because I believe that this membership is worth my full-time effort and there is more than enough to do and more that I want to offer. And I never want to gatekeep this, and I want more people to be able to be a part of it and benefit from it. It's a type of organism that will get better with more members. I think that there's a max, right, where that benefit turns off and then it becomes too big. We're not going to get there and we're not going to do that, but it definitely continues to have room to grow. And I also just think that there are a lot of really amazing people out there right now that are struggling and that are how do I do this role and be a mom? How do I do this role and not burn out? How do I do this role and communicate my value? How do I do this role and grow and rise and be promoted and recognized in the ways that I deserve? And I think I have a lot of insight on how to deliver that for anyone who is experiencing those uncertainties and doubts and concerns. There's spaces and places for you to get clarity and confidence.
Before we wrap up, there's a lot of people out there that are, as we said, going through their own middle, going and trying to navigate, as I say, who they were and who they're becoming. So is there anything you wish someone would have told you about going through transitions like this? And what advice do you have?
Before we were talking about waking up every day and expecting the worst to happen, it's a stoic mindset. And I wish that as I was going through sort of a rocket ship career, that I had been given the advice where someone said, you know what, at some point in your life, this rocket ship is going to crash. Something is going to pivot, shake by your choice or someone else's, and you will find yourself in a situation where all this is gone. If it never happens to you, may you be the only exception, because at some point in everyone's life, they do go through this. And having, I guess, just in that stoic mindset, the knowledge and not the fear that it will happen, but just the ability to rebound a bit faster if and when it does, to be I kind of knew that was going to happen. someone had warned me that this was going to happen at least once in my career, so that when it did, you can rebound a bit faster, you can get back on top of it. And I think, I've done a pretty good job rebounding in the couple of months since this has happened to me. And, just like, what can you do today to help yourself rebound faster? So if and when this does happen to you, you can move and run forward into the person you want to be.
I love that. I think that's applicable to everyone. We always end the middle with a light set of lightning round questions. It's one of my favorite parts. So with that, I have some lightning round questions for you. I promise there's, as we say in Collins, it's nothing spicy. Are you ready?
I'm ready. And if you want to make it spicy, we can go spicy. At Slack, spicy was where I kind of learned that term, and they would always put the chili pepper.
Yes.
It really just helps when you have a, kind of nerve-wracking thing you're working on, and you just got a little chili pepper to warn someone, be like, this is about to be hot.
Emojis are the best way, I think, sometimes to convey that meaning outside of the words. Like, you need to add a little oomph. Yeah, an emoji. Okay. What is your favorite day of the week?
Friday, 100%. You still get, a lot of the day spent like doing good work. But like you said, it's not a ton of meetings. The weekend is coming. And in my family, we have a lot of great Friday traditions. My daughter and I always get ice cream and we watch a movie together as a family. And she's 5. So sleeping in her own bed is an issue. But we promise her that if she sleeps all week in her own bed, then on Friday night, she gets to sleep with mom and dad.
Oh, I love that. My 5-year-old also has that issue. What's your favorite word?
I think it's mom. It's so fun to hear. And like, I also like in my head and brain, I'm like 23 years old. I can't believe that like people have trusted me with these big jobs and like raising human beings. And every time I hear it, I think like, oh, I've done something in my life. Like I've grown up a little bit. I have a little bit of experience, little wrinkles next to my eyes. And I'm someone's mom. And that's a huge responsibility. What bigger relationship than the one you have with your mom?
My 5-year-old daughter calls me mom, but every once in a while she'll say mommy. Like, I gave her something today and she goes, thanks, mommy. And it can change my whole day hearing mommy. I agree. What is one thing that you own that you should really throw out?
I am a serial purger. So I don't have many things, but one thing I wish I could throw out is my phone. I would like to restrict all of my internet usage to my laptop. And I wish my laptop was chained to my computer and that I could only look at stuff while I was sitting down in a work mode and mindset where I can best like accept, process, and respond to inputs that are coming in or do good work outputs versus all of this side little message chat over here while I'm like half listening to my kids or like half going on a walk or trying to exercise. The constant pull of my cell phone to check it. And I do everything. I have no social media apps on my phone. I put Screen Zen on my phone, which is an app to prevent you from opening things. I've recently put my email under that to like restrict me from how many times a day I'm opening up my email. Like the addiction is real. I don't have Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I don't have YouTube on my phone. And I still check that bitch all the time. He owns me and I wish he would go away.
I use Opal, the app, because it will block and freeze whatever app I tell it to. It will do it. So I have it from like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm not tempted to scroll Instagram at 2 a.m. And then I have it from like 9 to 3 during the day. So I can actually focus. But Brilliant. I will say it also does have a very easy way to get around it, which sometimes I'm like, yeah, I need this. I need to just cancel the session for today. I really need to scroll. So I feel that one. What is your favorite thing in your home office?
I actually move around a lot. So sometimes I'm in one room, sometimes I'm in the room I am now. I love my computer. So this was my first post-transition purchase for myself, was a computer of my own. I have not had my own laptop since college. I've always used corporate devices because I've always had a job. And so it's been really nice to actually have my own computer. I can search freely. I don't need to worry about the corporate overlords reading my text messages or emails. And she's pretty and she's gold, and I love her very much. Unlike my cell phone, I have a good relationship with my laptop.
Texting or talking?
Talking.
TikTok or Instagram?
Neither.
Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
Maybe a Disney princess at Disneyland when I was young, but in third grade, my mom's best friend is a guy named Earl, and he's a security guard for, like, at that point, he was a security guard for Howie D of the Backstreet Boys. He's worked with Justin Timberlake. He's worked with Christina Aguilera. He's worked with Michael Jackson. He's worked with Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses. And he has taught me from a very young age to treat celebrities with absolute respect and just like you would any other person. So no, I have not asked a lot of people for their autographs.
Whose autograph would you want?
Rory McIlroy.
Ooh.
Or another really big sports person. I'm a huge sports fan. I've been a fan of Rory McIlroy. We're like the exact same age. So like since he first burst on the scene, I feel like we've grown up together. He named his daughter Poppy at the time that I was pregnant, and I called my unborn baby Poppy. We're both born in the same year. We both have Irish background. He finally won the Masters this year and went the Grand Slam. So you know that baby's valuable. And I love Rory McIlroy. I love a lot of golfers, but gotta have mad respect for Rory.
I get it. I can see that. What is your hack for surviving long meetings?
I always have multiple drinks next to me. Coffee, water, soda water, tea. So just have something to do to occupy yourself while you're in the meeting. I have, though, like a lot of feelings about meetings, and especially about how big of a time waste they are. My philosophy is that if you are on a meeting and you are doing something else, like responding to Slack messages or emails or text messages or web surfing or going on social media, get off the meeting. There's no point for you there. If you can multitask, the meeting's not for you. The AI recaps of meetings are so good now that just read that, get the recap, and just spend your time doing what it is you're actually meant to do. I know that's not realistic, especially for a lot of people in corporate, because they have to like show their face on these certain meetings. But I would say, like, could you try to pay attention? And like, what are you going to get out of it if you actually do?
I think that makes perfect sense. What food could you eat for a week straight and not get bored?
My like elementary school answer is a combination of carbs and cheese, like macaroni and cheese, or a jumbo soft pretzel with like the really fake nacho cheese dip. My more adult answer would be like a filet mignon, rare plus, with like just salt and pepper seasoning. And then like my middle answer would be there's this special salad in Phoenix called like the Arizona chopped salad. And you can look it up. It's got a great combination of sweet, salty, crunchy, soft, and everything in between. And so I would go with the Gladly salad or Arizona chopped salad.
I will have to look that up. And last but not least, what is the best kind of French fry?
A waffle fry dunked into a stirred combination of ranch dressing and ketchup, but you have to use the waffle fry to stir it together, and then it gets into all of the crevices as you eat it. It has to be hot and a little bit salty.
I feel like you have either been asked that question before or you've been waiting for that question.
I did not mention French fries, but I have a very like secret, just like obsession with French fries, waffle fries. No, I have not been asked that question before, but I do have the answer. I have been waiting my whole life for someone to ask me that question, Megan.
I'm so glad. That's what I'm here for. Well, as we wrap up, tell people where they can find you.
You can email me at hi@joinofftherecord.com or find me on LinkedIn. Gab Ferree, Gab, F as in Frank, ERREE.
It was wonderful to see you and talk to you again. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for being so open. We would love to have you back, but I appreciate you making the time.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks for listening to The Middle. If today's story resonated with you, drop a subscribe, share the episode, and let's keep these conversations going. Until next time, remember, your story isn't over. You're just in the middle.